I'm not sure if I'm going to actually post this video, but I find it interesting. So here we go. I think I'm on the mend. Sometimes it feels like I've taken one step forward and two steps back. But anyway, I am moving around a little bit more every day. Able to do a little bit more than the day before. Excuse me. So here we go. This morning, I messaged my boss and said, I'm feeling a whole lot better. However, I'm not feeling well enough to come in. So I've been working as a groundskeeper, which is a lot of physical labor. Not intense physical labor, but it's a lot of moving. It's a lot of moving of the body. So I'm not sitting at a desk or anything like that. And the way that this situation is playing itself out, I still have times when, I end up coughing or this, that, or the other. And if you can hear it, I'm still a little short of breath. And I'm taking what I can for that. But anyway, so as I visualize my day at work, I realize I'm not in a position to be able to do what I would normally do with any level of productivity. So I have been off work for over a week now. Today I missed 5 days last week and I missed today. So when I told my boss I wasn't coming in, I got a response, which was kind of, not really a surprise to me. And I will speak to that. So it took me until about 11 o'clock to roll out of bed. I got up to go to the bathroom, and, this is how this is playing out, is I've been needing a lot of rest, a lot of sleep, and I do as much as I can do, but then when I'm done, I'm done. So it was like 11 o'clock till I got up this morning. Thank goodness it's summer break, And I only got up, I think, at that time because my son came out and asked me if I was going to get up and make him breakfast. So I got up and just threw this real lightweight dress on because I could already tell it was really warm. And had hoped I'd be able to get to some painting, but that's beside the point. So as I'm getting dressed, the thoughts are coming through my mind, and the thought was, I was looking back at, I used to have a job at a corporate office, and I was there for many years. And I was looking back at how they handled people when they were off sick, right? This is like 2 days off, and I remember in my orientation for this job the same. 2 days off and you need a doctor's note to return to work. And I had hoped that that wouldn't be an issue because I knew I wouldn't be going to the doctor. I did go to the doctor. I ended up having to go to the doctor when I contracted the poison so badly, but thankfully my employer paid for that since I contracted it while I was working there. So this time, I thought, well, I wonder how this is going to go. And I'm thinking about how other employers were, and this one said, 2 days and you need a doctor's note to return to work. And I thought about years past and there was a time, and this was fresh in my mind. I went to the doctor because I was sick. I'm going to say the flu, bronchitis, something like that. Being a person who has issues with asthma from time to time, bronchitis is one of those things that when I was a child, when I was a kid, and my mom smoked in the house, I got bronchitis 2 or 3 times a year, and I think I had pneumonia. I know I had pneumonia at least once before I was 25. So anyway, uh, looking back at that, one time I went to my doctor, and I used to love my doctor, my family doctor, before COVID, you know. Anyway, I went to my doctor, and he said, how long have you been sick? And I said, well, I missed the last 2 days of work. And he said, that's not what I asked you. I said, how long have you been sick? And I said, well, you know, I was sick enough the last 2 days to not go to work. And he said, I don't like to prescribe medicine, antibiotics, until you've been sick for a week. And I respected that, but at the same time, I felt pressure to go back to work. You know, I felt pressure from my employer to go back to work. So today, as I'm getting dressed, I'm thinking about that, and I realize in our Western world, I don't know what it's like anywhere else, but I know here from my experience, we are, it's so weird because on one hand, we're encouraged, don't go to work if you're sick. But on the other hand, the program is there that you're not allowed to miss work. So, I mean, they have a point system and all this stuff. So it's a very strange situation. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, how am I feeling today? Why not how I'm feeling today? You know, I'm not able to go to work, but I'm not going to go to the doctor and spend the money. My body is doing what my body is doing, and you know, it seems like it's healing itself. So I just realized now that so much of the way I have lived my life was about everyone else's expectations and what they wanted. So oddly enough, my husband and I are having this conversation, and I happen to check my cell phone, and I get a response back from my boss, and it says, have you gone to the doctor? Because you know you're supposed to have a doctor's note to return to work after missing 2 days. And my response was no, and I don't plan to, so you can terminate my employment and I'll come get my things as soon as I feel well enough. So I looked at my husband and I said, you know, it makes me think about this stuff. Like, what is the doctor's note for to return to work? Is it to say that the doctor says, yes, you're okay to return to work? Or is it because the employer doesn't believe you were really sick? And, you know, what I find funny about this is this particular job was part-time flex, and I've never had such a thing, part-time flexible. Meaning if I was at work and it was raining, I could go home. Or, you know, just very, very flexible. I'm not upset about this because I'm actually happy about it, because the way I'm feeling, I don't want to go to work anyway right now. So I'm not upset about it. This is, you know, I went to orientation one day and ended up getting sick, and I wasn't able to start. I had to postpone my start date because I went in one day for orientation and I got sick. And then I contracted poison, and that was a mess. And then, you know, fires in Canada, and I end up getting sick. It just seems like at some point, you know, there's your sign, I guess. So it seems like one thing after another has gone wrong since I started working at this place, and I guess I'm just not meant to be there, which is fine. It's okay. I said pretty soon I won't be able to work in Pennsylvania. I will have burned all my bridges because I try out a job here and try out a job there, and, you know, it seems to be like nothing's really clicking. But anyway, so the reason for this video is to say, you know, here again, I'm looking at another aspect of life and how my life was kind of designed to cater someone else. Now, the way I'm feeling today, I would have been able to go to work at that corporate job because I sat at a desk most of the day. That was my, it wasn't a physical, anything real physical. The most physical aspect was walking inside the building and walking to the car at the end of the day. We didn't have a lot of steps to do or anything like that. So, but I just really find it interesting how we've gotten away from really allowing the body to do what it needs to do to heal itself. We put pills in our mouths and bombard our bodies with medications before it even has time to produce the antibodies and the natural guarding and warding defenses to live in our environment. So, and how whether wittingly or unwittingly, employers of businesses are kind of encouraging us to, I'm going to say, abuse our bodies because, as long as I'm still here, I need this body. And nobody else is going to take care of it but me. Now, I don't take every precaution that would be prescribed by every person on this planet on a daily basis to protect this body either. I do have a level of expectation that I expect this body to get me where I need to go without too much trouble. Then we come back to the experiences. So why do we have the experiences we have? We have them because we've called them into being. What's the purpose for calling them into being? Well, who knows? That could be different from one day to the next. So, but I really found it interesting that today I looked at my life over the course of how many years, and I was like, oh my gosh, do you know how many times I went to the doctor because I knew my employer was gonna insist that I had a note, when I probably wouldn't have gone to the doctor. I just would have let my body heal and do what it needed to do. But, and I didn't even, I think as those things were occurring, I didn't even question it. Nothing. I didn't question it. Like, oh yeah, I gotta get better faster so I can get back to my job, and it might have actually been a blessing for me if I would have left that job sooner, maybe, I don't know. But be that as it may, that's what this video is about. It's really about, here's another level of conditioning. Here's another layer of the onion of the programs. I do like the conditioning. I think to say conditioning because that seems like more of what it is. We do come in with a program, but I look at that as something different than the conditioning once we're here. Social conditioning, educational conditioning, academic conditioning, employment conditioning, you name it, whatever. So back to square one on the job thing. So I got to find something else that I will like to do in my spare time. But, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's something I'm not going to be able to leave the house to do. I'm not sure yet at this point. So back to the drawing board. But I encourage anybody who sees this video to give some thought to these things. Like, give some thought to these worldly demands that maybe we just haven't questioned yet, and maybe we should be, Do we really need all these pharmaceuticals? Well, probably if we had allowed our body the time to heal that it really needed, instead of trying to pump it full of something that was going to get us back to work sooner, right? maybe we wouldn't have gotten down this rabbit hole this far with the pharmaceutical companies and, you know, the medical practices we have today. It's like we traded our body's natural health and natural healing abilities for employer convenience. And our own, because, you know, most of us don't get paid if we're not working, right? So that all of that is just pointing to more parts of the system that need to be corrected. You know, a person, yes, well, it is what it is. So, you know, you need to be able to have the proper amount of time to heal your body, but then we also have to be honest enough with ourselves to say, do I really want to do this job? Is this really something I want to do? Is it really something, you know, and I was kind of teetering on this one in the beginning. In the beginning, I felt very purposeful about it. Like, you know, I was hired to beautify the courtyards in these buildings, and they were very, very, very much out of control. They were very much out of control. And what's really weird is when I got the last one right, let's say right, when I got it back under control, that's when I contracted the poison, and I was out for, I think, almost a week dealing with that. And I did end up having to go to a doctor to get that. I could not get it under control. No matter what I did, I just couldn't get it under control, and it was really miserable. And that started to affect my breathing also, like an allergic reaction. And then I went back to work, and they put me on something else to try and keep me away from the poison, which is fine. But I didn't feel that, I don't know, I felt like the reason I was there was to get these courtyards back into shape, and then I didn't feel purposeful about it anymore for some reason. So, and that I couldn't quite figure out, but I think these things just keep happening because I'm not supposed to be there, I guess. I don't know. Whatever it is, it is. And they have, I think, they have enough staff with the high school kids that have come in to take care of things. So anyway, just take a look at some of these silly things that come up in life and how we respond to them and why we respond to them the way that we do. And is it really the healthiest way? Is it really the healthiest for our bodies? Is it really the healthiest for our minds? And peace and love, may you be blessed.